After I wrote The Heaven and Hell Odysseys in North Carolina at the age of about 17, I saw the film Wizards, an animated film by Ralph Bakshi, I believe. And it's a story of a black wolf, mean spirited and cruel individual who is a brother wizard to Avatar, who likes flowers and is followed around by a bimbo of a butterfly named Eleanor, like Eleanor Roosevelt, only a bimbo of a butterfly. And in the end, um, Avatar spells of flowers and goodness and peace don't work. And he makes a brave new statement of endorsement of the National Rifle Association. He pulls out a gun and shoots his brother Black Wolf. Hey. So that's the end of the story. And the moral of the story is that's just how it is. I guess, the old NRA stuff. And endorses killing Kennedy because Kennedy was a wizard, right? No, he was voted president of the United States. No, it's all wizards. Everybody's oligarch. Either you have power or you don't have power, and you depend on the wizard who has the good power, and so on and so forth. I mean, Hollywood just smothers things in rubrics. Well, where is that now? I realize you stupid Nazis have it good. It's very convenient for you to play race politics with a deaf man who you have tortured. Very convenient. Being deaf is a little bit like being from a foreign country. It's like what Arnold Katz said about Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He's in isolation in New Jersey and he's from Russia. As interesting as his comments are about America, how can he know? When you're deaf, you're from a foreign country. It's impeachable in the realm of correctness and common decency and civil manners and even your own stupid UW dialectical computer to presume that you understand deafness when you know nothing at all whatsoever about it. You can find brilliance to hire, I'm sure. I've noted the malice of your angling comes with a certain amount of genius and spite towards what you know to be pinpointed weaknesses of the deaf. That's your speed. But no one will ever actually capture Donald Trump for anything without capturing the Beatles. He's their puppet, and that's what we're dealing with. Now, it leaves some things to be wondered. For example, it's obvious from the UW dialectical obsession with spreading contagion. If you Michael Foucault's decree, if you wash, we will be offended, was put on hold temporarily by the beeping in Andromeda strain that induced comatose by COVID-19, but now it's wearing off and you're back to normal with monkeypox. If you wash, we will be driven to make your life. The psychopathy of Seattle derives in part from the refusal to understand that I tried to warn people and was up against people who already knew, who were inside playing games, masquerading as friends of the victims, so they could take the victims as souvenirs to hell, which was the mania of the Zappas towards me. It still is. The mania of the Green Party, and still is. And the administration refuses to format the roster of issues any way but deceptively and correctly. It's very difficult to check off the box of decibel register when you don't have the roster formatted correctly. When the roster is formatted incorrectly, somebody shrieks from the sidelines this, shrieks from the sideline that, and you're left. Well, hold on. Well, I got deal with all this mumbo jumbo. And the way it ultimately gets snafu'd is that they commit absurdly violent, brazen poison crimes and then smother it in stories about paranoid schizophrenia, hardy horror, horror. They're very professional and they consider that their license because license is everything in Seattle. Principles are nothing, freedoms are nothing, ethics are nothing, license is everything. That's how they get their kicks from licensing their powers to do to innocent people. And reality cannot be happening. Therefore, nothing when it comes to evidence can be evaluated or admitted. And when you refuse to look at any evidence whatsoever, it makes it much easier to say reality cannot be happening. Hollywood used to have a refrain, it's only a movie, it's only a movie, it's only a movie. What if it's not? You don't look at the basement, don't look at the evidence. Reality cannot be happening, and especially if you don't look at the evidence, then reality really cannot be happening. Now, they have a God theory that the images of women online um, should be points of collection services in a TVC15 computer of moral authority, a tug and pull between stimulation and consumer affairs. And they put up Greta Thunberg like how in IBM. Are you going to abort me or are you going to pay the horse? My mind is going. I can feel it, right? She's real. She's really out there. She's really in the computer. And they believe that this is a holy revelation. Now, they don't believe that's what it is, but they're hiding the idea that that's what it is. That's their um, God theory. And so you have to choose, between the I thou relationship of the people who are in the computer or negate them, in which case you become a fascist in a peripheral zone where when you kill somebody in a PlayStation game, somebody in real life does. You know, William Gibson has a passage in a book where somebody begins to suspect that a hybrid crime took place when they looked at a too real computer game. So what we see in this contraption is the old storyline that poor people turn on poor people for religious reasons, just flood everybody with guns, heat up the atmosphere, and tell them you've been morally double crossed. The people who are doing this are a neo-NATO outfit. Now, we know from Trumpy to Putin's alliance that the neo-NATO alliance has thought ahead. They're not what they say they are. It's been the format of roster of issues has been deceptively decoyed. Trump is considered Eurasian in Russia. So the neo-NATO alliance it has these um, blustering pseudo-leftists in media, redacted, BJ Prash, and people like that who bellow about America It thinks it's an empire, but it's so fragile. They're the ones who are behind NATO's. Everything gets decided by America and NATO. That's not true. Neo-NATO has phased out America and is targeting America and is ridiculing America and is assassinating America. They killed JFK like the guy from Wizards. The Wizards, that's the way it is. It's the nature of reality. I learned all that in Pittsburgh growing up. They torture somebody and they say, oh, well, it's a civic statement about cultural competence, provincial norms to kidnap children, torture them, make Nicky Chop films of them for pornographic genocide. And the insiders in this are in the Democratic Party, Tulsi Gabbard, Jay Inslee, all of them are inside on this absurdity. And they up the stakes. They go through COVID-19. Mike Pike, what we take, they have a perfect cover story. Nature's gone crazy. Nature's gone crazy. How about a little fire, Scarecrow? And that's what we're dealing with. And the evidence is perfectly clear. They have Diamond Gola standing in front of the World Trade Center. And one look at her resume, and you can see she was in on it before it started. But she has the protection of the umbrella of the Beatles and Zappa. So reality cannot be happening. I mean, you can look at storychecks.org and see what really happened, but you'll deny it. You'll say it's only a movie. It's only a movie. Reality cannot be happening, and that's where it's coming from. And they see it in an ellipse. The squalid parochial, Sniveler says, you think abortion is murder, but it really is. So no, let's talk about this a second. Administration canceled my concern that the script of Revolution Number 9, it came from John Lennon and his friends. They murdered Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King and called it metaphors for abortion. It's clear cut in cold blood. Now everybody runs to the defense of the Jews. Oh, well, they're Jewish. We can't say anything about it. Obama's like, but they celebrated the black man. They celebrated the black man. We can't do anything about it. What's the real reason why Pramila Jayapal won't address that there's a script that killed Martin Luther King as a metaphor for abortion? Oh, well, the white will be called a victim. No, wait a minute. I was deafened by these people I was tortured, but let's not change the subject. What's the real reason? Well, the women's livers will say, abortion isn't murder. And the parochial salvage will say abortion is murder. And they'll go back and forth, tug of war between those two issues. But what you're missing is the third group, led by Ruth Ginsburg, who had Carrie in half on her last night on Earth, right? Remember that story of the elevator? Carrie, it's like scene from The Omen, which is abortion is murder, but so what? Those are the people who are in charge of all this. Abortion is murder, but so what? That's what NATO's intelligence system is. So hide your civilians, because these administrators at school are still refusing to format the roster of issues credibly to be evaluated. Reality can't be happening. Is what they say. So don't talk about it. Now people seem to be being prudent when they're not talking, but the truth is that they don't know what to talk about because the roster has left them discombobulated. And a person like me, it's like I'm from Venezuela. I'm deaf. People say, "Oh, he's a Latino," because I'm white. A deaf white. How many points is that? How many points is that in UW dialectical? How many points?